Hi, and welcome to the online course titled UnMukt, the Science and Art of Design Thinking. The course is brought to you by the School of Design Thinking. In this session, titled Dialogue, you will learn the difference between dialogue and discussion, and the importance of reading. The session is close to 10 minutes long. Have a pencil and workbook handy, and open your mind to learn and grow. Now, over to Arun Jain.
What is the difference in dialogue and discussion? How many times do you do dialogue and how many times you do the discussion? Dialogue is conversation between two people, not sticking to one point of view. When customer is talking, listen to him. When our views are there, we communicate. Our mind is interpreting and communicating. It's a teamwork. Movie is just what you're observing in a human mind. You're observing just parts moving one after the other. But our contextual mind is contextualizing to say, oh, it's a teamwork. It's a alignment. That interpretation is coming from our mind because we are sitting in a management workshop, learning workshop. That means it has to link. If you are sitting in some other workshop, you would have interpreted differently. Since you are sitting in a management workshop, so you are interpreting as a management principle. If you are interpreting in an automobile workshop, you will be looking at a racing. So our mind throws the interpretation in which context setting I am sitting. And secondly, 2 times you observed. Did you observe differently in each time? Something new? So careful observation is a key to learning. Whenever customer problems are there, how carefully you are learning, carefully you are observing. When you are observing the source code, the design of the UX, when you are looking at the test, your data in financial data in finance department or HR data, each time you look at the data, you may have a different interpretation may come in. But you need a patience to do it. Different lenses you have to wear. The 4th thing you learn from the reading is the cheapest way to learn is reading. Because books are the cheapest way of learning about somebody else's life. In 300 rupees, 400 rupees, 500 rupees a book, you get a complete insight into a other person's life who has spent 50 years of his intense learning into the book. At one point of time, book used to be very, very expensive, and that's why the library came in picture. Now the books have become so cheap that you can download on Kindle. So learning process can happen from the books of various kinds. So my recommendation to all of you is pick up a book, at least 1 book a month, some new topic, 12 books a year. You will get some feel. It could be any subject. I'm not saying it should be on banking subject or a technology subject. Pick up some book per month. Have a habit of going to bookstore, not necessarily only Amazon bookstore, but physical bookstore, spend some 2 hours time there. Pick up some book of sociology, history, science, modern science, whatever the interest you have. Pick up the book and discuss with somebody else. Make some sounding board, make somebody friend. Read some book. Read a book on management, some autobiography of the people, Walt Disney biography, Steve Jobs biography, Gandhi biography. Any one of them biography could become very interesting in your journey. In my life, when I started the career, it was Tata I felt inspired by, JRD Tata, JRD Tata. I got inspired in 1980s because I thought that against British time, setting up a steel factory in India would have been such a bold step somebody would have taken when India was not independent and set up a steel factory in Jamshedpur, and that too in a remote village like Jamshedpur in Jharkhand. To set up a steel factory was something, a bold decision. I got inspired by him. Then I moved on, my inspiration changed. I got inspired by Walt Disney when I visited Disney World in 1986. I inspired by Disney World, that how somebody can imagine a place of Mela to be converted into a business. A village Mela where we go in Mela, but you make it a 100x scale. You scale it up to 100x and make it a ticket for $100 to enter into it for that mela. And village mela, nobody goes there. So in our village mela in India got closed, but in US we pay to go into that village mela. But it's fundamentally a large scale mela. And Walt Disney inspired me that how can you create a inspiration where everybody in the world talks about Disney World. Then the inspiration changes and role modeling changes for me in my life to Steve Jobs. When I pick up first iPod in my hand in 2004, I purchased first iPod before iPhone came in. iPod was the first device which came in. I saw there is no button and no screw there. It was so finely designed where I got fascinated that whole pressing button was also not there. So he spotted that all the Walkmans used to have you press the cassette, you press some button. So these buttons which are there, which when you press, the major support issues comes into those buttons. Sometimes those breaks down. So that breaking down happen in those buttons. So if you remove those buttons from a system, then breakdown will not happen. And in the back cover also, he didn't put a screw for the battery. He just do a assembly by the manufacturing assembly to combine the two space. Do you find any reason why you don't have a screw to put a battery? Any reason for it? In design element? In iPhone also, there is no screw to open the battery. In your TV device, it's always a back cover to open and change the battery. Any reason? You can't open then? Pardon? You cannot alter the design. You cannot do a spurious product into it. So you will have a reliable product. So if you have an opening, somebody can change the battery. A quality of battery can go down, so spuriousness will go down. You can't ensure the quality is maintained. And secondly, if there is no moving part and opening part, the chances of failure comes down. Because if our software product, if we don't have opening and closing part, it will work as it is. If we give him too much of a change request and make the 20 changes, it will result into multiple defects. So you don't have a screw to screw it up. So the beauty of Apple design was there are no screws in the device. That's the principle of the design. So you have core principle of a design. So when you design a software product, you need to have core principles of design. If you compromise, nobody in Apple can compromise on the design principles. So good product needs to have a principle-based design, and one principle is no screw in the device. No mechanical part in the device. Every part will be electronically controlled device. And that's how the iPod becomes a successful product. Then iPhone becomes a successful product. So reading through the biography of Steve Jobs or working with him, I got inspired to read what the thought process went into mind. Then 2012, I got into learning from Gandhiji and pick it up how he impacted the entire India, what was the thinking process Gandhiji had, and that becomes my inspiration. So over the journey, I have 4 or 5 role model. So when you move in your journey, who is your role model, whom you get inspired, they are my signpost when you are walking in your journey. So this books purchasing becomes very, very important piece because any book can inspire you. If you pick up 12 books a year, chances are 1 or 2 books may be of that nature which will inspire you. And there's no shortcut for reading. You have to read it in the evenings or the mornings. You take out 1 hour time before going to sleep. Excuse is not I'm busy. We are all busy. For learning, you have to take out time. Whether you read on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or every day, or in a bus when you are coming to office, in a bus or any place, or in a car, just read, take out the book, or flight when you are traveling. You may be doing already.